Good afternoon, everyone. It is wet out there. There are a lot of raincoats and umbrellas in this room. Thank you for coming today. This is UMMC 101, Academically Speaking. The 101 series, I'm sure looking around, I know just about everybody in this room, which is a good feeling. It makes you a lot less nervous when you can see friendly faces everywhere. But the 101 series is an initiative by the Vice Chancellor's Office to introduce all of us to some of the key people and offices in UMMC that keep things moving. And today's session is focused on academics. And so I worked with Natalie Goff and Gina Wilkes and others in the Office of Academic Affairs to put this presentation together today. And it was intended to be a back and forth presentation with Natalie Goff and me, and she is ill today. So I know you're disappointed. You really came here to see her. I know that. Right, Chief Parody? Is that right? Yeah. So I love Natalie Goff, and we've had such a good working relationship since we both were named to our positions in the Office of Academic Affairs, and so I'm really, really sorry that she couldn't be here. We sort of split this presentation in half, so I've got my handout, and I've quickly reviewed all of her notes to make sure I get it right for all of you today. But we want to make this fun and informative and hopefully meaningful and a good use of your hour. So thank you again for coming. And with that, let's see. Introductions. So we had this photograph made of ourselves when we started less than 2 years ago in this job. And I thought this was a great photo, so I said, I'm going to include this as we introduce ourselves. Natalie has been in the Office of Academic Affairs for a lot longer than I've been in the office. Before coming into this role, I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs and also the Chief Academic Officer for UMMC. And before moving into this position, I served UMMC as the chair of the Department of Psychiatry and Human Behavior for 7.5 years. So my background and my training, I went to medical school. I did residency training in psychiatry and then specialized in child and adolescent psychiatry. So I'm board certified in both adult psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry. Also, before going to medical school, was a 6th grade school teacher in Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I was a swim coach as well. I was also a camp counselor. I have this interesting background that really is heavy on education, heavy on teaching and working with young people. That's always been a passion of mine. And before coming to UMMC 9 years ago, I was at Vanderbilt for 15 years as a member of their faculty. And for 10 of those years, the last 10 years that I was at Vanderbilt, I was the Associate Dean for Medical Student Affairs. So I worked a great deal with students as they were going through their 4 years of training, applying to residency programs, which is a pressure cooker environment, and then helping them match successfully in programs all over the country. So a lot of interest that I have in not only teaching, but also advising people at all levels of training. So I'm thrilled to be in this job. This is very, very exciting for me to be in a position like this at UMMC. And I'm hoping that during my time in the role that I can do some good work. Natalie, if she were here, she would introduce herself. I'll introduce her a little bit for you. I know many of you know her already. She has a PhD, so she went to graduate school, not to medical school. She's in counseling psychology and has worked in academic affairs for many years and done all sorts of things. If you know Natalie, you know that she's effective in so many areas. She's an excellent communicator. She has integrity. She's trustworthy. People go to her for advice. And she has worked with like Penny Foster on the student success programs over the years. She works with many of you on various committees. She knows how to write policy. She works with people like Brian Rutledge. I saw him earlier. I don't see him now. He stepped down. But she's just effective in so many ways. And she and I have discovered that we have a wonderful, complementary, harmonious professional relationship. in this role. And isn't it nice when you get named to a position and you like the people you work with? That is such a blessing, right? And that's what we have in academic affairs, not only with Natalie, but with everyone in academic affairs. So it's been terrific for me. All right, so I want to make this fun for all of you. Natalie and I really wanted to inject some fun into this. So I love history, and I thought you would maybe enjoy seeing some aerial photographs of our campus as it's evolved. And I want to thank Gina Wilkes. Gina Wilkes has done a lot of work helping us put together the history of UMMC and helping us with some of our slides today. But also, Mark Rolfe and his team have been helpful. Jay and Joe from photography have helped us. I don't know if they're here today, but yes, there he is, Joe Ellis. Thank you for everything you've done. And he's continuing. Joe, who's never in the spotlight, is enjoying that now, always behind the camera. All right, so here is a photograph of from 1954. In 1950, the Mississippi legislature enacted a law by a one-vote margin to establish a 4-year medical school with the University of Mississippi, and it would be located in Jackson. And this would be the university located, it was called the University Medical Center, and they created a school. And by 1954, the construction was nearing its end on what would be referred to as the T building. So this was the beginning, 1954. And as we continue, you can see now it's cleaner. You have cars parked there. And by 1955, we had the University Medical Center, and I guess this is the origin of UMC. Now we struggle with that, don't we? Because it lingers in our vocabulary. We want to say UMMC, but then we often trip up and say UMC. So this was, though, in 1955, the University Medical Center, or UMC, and it had the 4-year medical school, and also there were graduate students at the time studying here, earning PhD. So it wasn't just the MD, but it was also the PhD degree, though we did not have a formal graduate school at this time. We did have a teaching hospital and a library. We go to 1965, and you can see it continues to grow. And what I want to mention now is that the Oxford campus had a nursing department, and it moved to the medical center in 1956 and became a school at UMC in 1958. We used educational spaces like 4A, classroom 4A, 5A, and 7A for lectures and presentations. And we moved in 1967. And at the time, we had 712 students in both medicine and nursing. We awarded over 130 degrees. We had about 130 faculty, and a budget of just over $13 million. We also began adding research laboratories, more lecture halls, faculty, and staff offices. So it began to really grow. And here we are in 1978. There we go. Now, Gina tells me that she chose the colors for the circles. She put this together for us. These are the commencement colors for schools, like the School of Dentistry. Is it purple? Sort of
except for Sharp.
Sharp. They have so many degrees in Sharp. We weren't able to identify a single color for Sharp. But you can see.
I chose the top. They know why.
But in 1978, we have Sharp, or the School of Health-Related Professions, coming into existence, and also the School of Dentistry. 1982. Now we see the Learning Resource Center. This is where we are in academic affairs. It's also where the library is located. It's where the Vice Chancellor's suite is located on the ground floor. 1982. And then in 1988, we see a building, the School of Nursing. And we also wanted to highlight on this aerial photograph where the new School of Nursing will be located. We're very excited about that. Congratulations to the School of Nursing and to the School of Dentistry for your new building that's coming. In 2004, we see the Norman C. Nelson Student Union. And then within the main building, not its own building, but within the main building, we have, for the first time, the School of Graduate Studies in the Health Sciences. And I believe the actual date for the founding of the grad school was 2001. Here's Sydney Murphy. She can confirm. Is that right, Sydney? Dr. Murphy, yes. And in 2020, look at the campus, my goodness. Here we have now, for the first time ever, a freestanding School of Medicine with its own self-contained building. I think that was completed in 2017. We also have the Translational Research Center. If you look to the left, that is where we have our John D. Bauer School of Population Health, which is, interestingly, the only school that has a name attached to it. There was an endowment at the time. So, comparing 1955 to 2020, you see what has happened. Isn't that fun to look at, something like that? And many of you have been a part of it well, all of you have been a part of it, right? For all these years. For not all these years, but for some of the time at least. We are, as many of you know, we're a semi-autonomous unit responsible to the Chancellor of the University of Mississippi and through the Chancellor to the Constitutional Board of Trustees of the IHL. And they govern all 8 state universities in Mississippi. So we're a part of that whole IHL system of schools. And I want to just recognize our dean. So we have something called the Council of Deans, and I'm the chair of the Council of Deans, and we have a terrific group of deans at UMMC, and it's exciting for me to just be associated with these people. So I'll start with just the School of Medicine, founded in 1955, Dr. Lou Ann Woodward. I don't believe she was able to make it. She had a conflict. Loretta Jackson is here. Loretta, just raise your hand. We won't make you stand, but just raise your hand. She is our vice dean in the School of Medicine. School of Nursing, we have an interim dean, Tina Martin, and she's raising her hand in the back. And we have Sharp, we have a relatively new dean, Jay Garner. Jay is there in the back with Tina, okay? And Sri Koka is the School of Dentistry. There he is. There you are, Dr. Koka. And then we have our graduate school, Dr. Sydney Murphy, right there. And Thomas Dobbs is our dean of the School of Population Health. Is he here? There he is, Dr. Dobbs. Okay. So a terrific group. You can see their photograph, and here they are in one of this bottom photograph taking part in the IPE, Interprofessional Education and Wellbeing Block Party last September. We have in academic affairs over 70 academic programs. Bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctoral degrees. We have an MD, PhD program. It is a campus with a very active academic life. So many things going on. It's hard to keep track of any of it. This is just a sampling of some of the many academic programs that we have on our campus. We also have something that people often don't think about, but it's important to just understand, and that is we have affiliated students. These are students who are seeking degrees elsewhere, but they want to come to UMMC for a rotation or some kind of clinical or other learning experience. And so to date, since this summer, I believe, and this program, by the way, is orchestrated and maintained by Dr. Penny Foster, who is here with us from the Office of Academic Affairs. But we have over 1,200 affiliated students just this year, and then we have educational observers. These are people who are not necessarily seeking a degree, but they want to come and observe things that are happening. And so we have 233 thus far this year, and these are some of the areas where these students are either observing or affiliated. We have around 20 educational enrichment programs. This is just a sampling of some of our enrichment programs. We do a lot of outreach. Students all over the state want to come to UMMC. They're interested in UMMC. They're interested in healthcare professions. And so we have a role to play. We feel an obligation to engage with the community around us. We don't wish to be isolated within our little campus here. We want to make sure that we're connecting with students all over this state. So as they're exploring career options for themselves and their interest, we're available to them. So thankfully, with the help of so many of you and so many of our schools, we have around 20 educational enrichment programs to engage these young people in all that's going on here. Our mission at UMMC is to improve the health and well-being of patients in the community through excellent training for healthcare professionals, engagement in innovative research, and the delivery of the state-of-the-art healthcare. But I'm highlighting the first part of that, which is excellent training for healthcare professionals. This is our charge in the Office of Academic Affairs. We're very focused on training, teaching training. Our home we're in the Learning Resource Center just across from the library. So as you're going by, and we actually did a little bit of a cosmetic upgrade. We had this ugly blue carpet, and we had to get rid of it and do some painting and some other things. And so we cleaned it up and made it look a little bit better. So, and many people helped us with all of that. So come by and see it if you're interested. But it's really a nice place to work. But I want to also emphasize the Office of Academic Affairs is comprised not only of us who are located in this area, but also we have like Office of Faculty Affairs, which is not in this area. It's right around the corner from us here. We have the Office of Student Affairs, which is in the student union. And so we're really spread all over the place, but this is just sort of the home base for us. So this is our team, photograph of our team in academic affairs, and these are some of the groups within academic affairs. And what I want to do, I want to have a little bit of fun, and again, this is introductory, this is a 101, so we're going to tell you about the Office of Academic Affairs. So we're just going to go through. I'll start with the Center for Bioethics and Biomedical Humanities. We have, if you look, there's this man standing there. I don't think he's here today, is he? Dr. Didlake? No? Dr. Didlake, is he here? No? Okay, he is my predecessor in this role. He was the Associate Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. And this is Dr. Didlake and members of his team, and they're engaged in this project called the Asylum Hill Project. And he's given a presentation here before on that, so I know you're familiar with that. But this group, the Center for Bioethics and Medical Humanities, is involved in a lot of things: cultural awareness, diversity training, poverty simulation, exercise that they sponsor, professionalism across the curriculum. So they're a wonderful resource for UMMC, and we're really glad that they're a part of academic affairs, and that Dr. Didlake continues to maintain an active role in our office. We have the Division of Continuing Health Professional Education, and so Vicki Skinner is here. Would you mind standing with your group, please? Let everybody see your group. I know you have food in your hands. There they are. So all of you that need CME, right, you can thank these wonderful people. They are thank you, you may be seated. They monitor and maintain CE Central. They do event and program planning for all of us, credentialing services. They're also involved in campus reservations of rooms like this. So I don't know what we would do without them. But continuing health professional education is a part of academic affairs, promoting lifelong learning. We have the Rural Dentist and Mississippi Rural Physicians Scholarship Program, and we have a new leader of that as of Monday. So let's introduce Tabora Cook to everyone. Welcome. We are so glad you're here and part of UMMC and a new leader of this program. This is a program that provides scholarships to students who are interested in ultimately working in rural areas of Mississippi. And you can imagine there's a lot of interest in that. We have people who care a great deal about their home communities, and they come from all over the state to get their training here, get the best possible training, and then when they're done, they return. And they go back to their home communities and take care of the people in those rural communities. And so, Tabora, we're so glad you're here with your team. Do you have anybody else with you today? Okay, very good. Then we have, oh boy, so important, academic compliance, effectiveness, and research. This is the group that's responsible for accreditation, assessment and education quality improvement, compliance with various things, state authorizations, licensure, student compliance, and institutional research, faculty database, internal, external reporting. Mitzi Norris is our terrific veteran leader. Where is this group? There you are. Would you stand, please? And just to brag on Mitzi and her team, we had a recent SACS visit. Actually, I started on the job April of 2022. And the week before, wasn't it, Mitzi? The very week before, we had your big SACS COC site visit. And there was so much stress. We were all stressed, although we were totally prepared for it. But I walked into that. That was my introduction. And but it was perfect because they had already done all the work, and I got to start with a clean slate. We don't have another big site visit for many years. But we had no findings at all. It was like a perfect visit. And you know, if you don't have accreditation, everything just grinds to a halt. You have to have accreditation. You have to be an accredited program or set of programs in order to function as an academic campus. So we are grateful to this group for all that they do. We have the Office of Enrollment Management. Emily Cole is our leader, and I believe she's here with her team. Emily, would you stand with your team? Let everybody see you. Thank you. This is the group responsible for applications, admissions, enrollment, graduation, transcripts, providing letters of good standing, our registrar, very important group. We have the Office of Faculty Affairs, and we have another veteran leader with us, Patrick Smith, who is here with his team, I believe. Patrick, I'm glad you could be here. I know you have another big event happening today, but you're here. Thank you. Would you stand with your team, please? And you can see their mission is to champion faculty vitality through recruitment, integration, development, advancement across the faculty life cycle. And they do onboarding, they have faculty development programming, they're sponsored a new Faculty Appreciation Week this year. I know many of you attended. Promotion and tenure happens through this office, very important office. You'll notice I've highlighted something called Faculty Focus, and I want to just talk about that. The mission of Faculty Focus is to advance faculty professional development through programming designed to cultivate, enhance instructional, scientific, clinical, and leadership expertise. So let me explain. Patrick and I had lengthy discussions about something that we needed on this campus. So when I moved into the role, Patrick and I, who knew each other already very well from my 7.5 years in psychiatry, we had a discussion about the need for faculty development. So we have just under 1,200 faculty here. We need to make sure that those faculty are supported fully. We need to support staff, we need to support students, we need to support faculty. But with Patrick and his team, it's really about supporting faculty. And so faculty development is really important. And through surveys that we've administered, we know that the faculty was very interested in leadership as a topic. They wanted to become better leaders. We also know research and scholarship was hugely important. They want to be better in that area. And then finally, instruction or teaching. This was of interest to our faculty. So these three areas became sort of the cornerstones of a new faculty development initiative. And this was a strategic goal that we created when Natalie and I got started working with Patrick and his team. And we hired Risa Moriarty to be the Associate Chief Faculty Affairs Officer, joining Patrick, who is our Chief Faculty Affairs Officer. And then we hired Mandy Scott, and we have all these other great people in the office helping with this project. And it's already off the ground. It's barely a year old, but they're sponsoring, you'll see all these events now all over campus designed to give faculty assistance and development in these three areas. We're not focused on other areas at this point. This is really where we are. But this is new and very exciting, and it's something that we needed to do, and we've started. I'm not going to say we've done it, but it's moving now. It's moving down the tracks. We have the Office of Mississippi Physicians Workforce, and I see some people from that office. Is John here?
He's not.
John's not here. But why don't the two of you stand up?
Oh, absolutely.
Please. So this office is responsible for assessing types of practice, affiliations, geographic distributions of physicians across our state. They look at workforce needs, and then they support GME programs around the state. John Mitchell is our director, and Alexis and Zanzi work with him very closely to keep this office moving and doing all the many good things that you do, so thank you for that. We have the Office of Student Affairs. This is a new office. Each of our schools has an Office of Student Affairs, right? But we haven't had a centralized Office of Student Affairs. We had a Director of Student Services before, but never a Chief Student Affairs Officer. Well, not in recent history. Jerry Clark, in fact, was the Chief Student Affairs Officer when he was here in the School of Medicine. But in recent years, we've not had that. So Natalie and I did a lot of thinking about our strategic goals and what we wanted to do and accomplish in academic affairs, and we made the decision to move forward with the creation of an Office of Student Affairs. So this group is housed in the student union. They oversee the associated student body, student life activities, events and programs. Our campus is very much like a commuter campus, isn't it? I mean, we don't have dormitories. We don't have athletic teams. We're not like a traditional Mississippi State or Ole Miss or anything in that way. We're different. Our students tend to be a little bit older. They live off campus. They come in for their classes and their rotations and various things. But that doesn't mean we can't have student life. It doesn't mean that our students can't enjoy, not only learn while they're here, but also just enjoy their time at UMMC. So we wanted to emphasize student life as well as student success. Those are really the two themes of the Office of Student Affairs. So they handle everything from accommodations, affiliations, we've heard about that. They do interprofessional education. They have something relatively new called the Student Success Series, which is highlighted because I want to talk about it. They have the Student Affairs Council. There's a new benevolence fund. We had an anonymous donor give money to help students across all of our schools when they're in trouble for whatever reason. They need money. It's not a loan. There's no expectations that this money will need to be repaid. This money is a gift to the student, and they have to apply for it. And our office will look over their applications, and then I believe they've already distributed some of the money from this account. Is that right? Yeah. So we have handle student complaints. Also, people are always surprised to learn that the Office of Academic Affairs is responsible for the bookstore and the gift shops. Never in my life have I been responsible for a gift shop, but now I am. And I always like shopping in there too. I go in there all the time and buy little things for myself to support them. And commencement, we're responsible for that. That is a huge event at the end of the year. And then we're starting something very exciting called the Honors College, and I want to talk about that. That's why I've highlighted it. But before I talk about these individual programs, let's introduce Hannah and Penny. Hannah Broom and Penny Foster. So here you have Chief Student Affairs Officer Hannah, Associate Chief Student Affairs Penny. On Faculty Affairs, you've got the Chief, you've heard about Patrick, and the Associate Chief, Risa Moriarty. So there are these sort of parallel things happening on the student side and on the faculty side so that it makes sense to people. All right, let's look now. This is new. This is one of our strategic goals. I've already talked about a couple of these, but this is another one. So students, when they come to UMMC, we want to make sure that they are successful. Students come from all over the place. Some of them have, outstanding study skills. They are very professional. They know how to interact with others in a team environment or in an educational environment. They've got it. But then we have students who struggle for a variety of reasons. They don't know how to study. They don't know how to attack this huge volumes of material coming their way. So success really depends on a student's ability to function in a pressure-filled environment like this, because there is a lot of pressure here across our schools. Students feel it, and we want them to succeed. We don't want to bring any student here who can't succeed in our environment. And so we needed a centralized resource for student success. And Penny Foster was the right person to take this on with the support of Hannah. And so this is a new initiative that provides programs. They have a calendar with events happening every week. It's very impressive. They focus on academic achievement, professionalism, career preparation. They even did like professional photography, didn't you at one point sponsor? So the students would learn how to dress when they come. Have you ever noticed a student with a terrible photograph? And you think, who's telling them this? Like, they need advice. Students come here and they're not always prepared for the big leagues, right? When they get to UMMC, now you're in the big leagues, and we want you to look right. We want you to be really professional. Right, Cynthia? QEP? That's right. She's working on professionalism too. All right. So that's the Student Success Series. Let me tell you about this. As far as I know, this is the first and only honors college of its kind anywhere in the United States. All right? So you know about honors colleges at the undergraduate level, but you've probably never heard about an honors college at the healthcare professional level before. But we have this, it became very clear to me early in my time in this role that this was a special campus environment that we have, because we have these co-located schools in one place. And I wanted to mention something. The School of Pharmacy, we have a building here. You may have wondered, why didn't I introduce the School of Pharmacy earlier? And that's because the School of Pharmacy is officially at the University of Mississippi. They send their students to us for the 3rd and 4th year of training, and that's why we have a building, and we have excellent working relationships with them. We're very good friends, very together. Donna Strum is a part of our council of deans. She's based in Oxford, but we involve her in discussions all the time about things, and we want to make sure that her students and her faculty and staff are supported here. So, but with this honors college, we looked around, we couldn't find any examples of an honors college on a healthcare campus like this. And with these 6, and if you add pharmacy, 7 schools in one location, you know, it's so easy to imagine a wonderful, rich educational environment where the students get to connect with one another from across disciplines, right? As a physician, I can tell you it's never guaranteed when you walk into a healthcare setting that people are respectful of one another, that physicians are respectful of nurses and vice versa, that people understand what physical therapy is doing, occupational therapy, what pharmacy is responsible for, the scientists from the graduate school, what do they do exactly and how do they contribute? We talk all the time about translational research, but what is that exactly, right? And we know that students from these different programs, they think differently about healthcare problems. They have different perspectives on it. So they're not, you know, in this sort of groupthink mindset. So we wanted to bring them together from across all the schools into an environment where they're challenged to go a little bit above and beyond what they're doing in their standard curricula. Okay, so I'm going to just read the mission that we wrote: to provide students across the 7 health profession schools with an opportunity for academic distinction, educational enrichment, developed within an interprofessional framework. We're going to build respect and admiration and trust across the disciplines here at UMMC through the Honors College, guided by dedicated faculty and supported centrally by the Office of Student Affairs. The pillars include a reading room. We're going to have selected readings and small group activities for these students. Community engagement. We want to get our students off campus. All of you know Jackson has so many needs, as does the state of Mississippi. And if the students are just here all the time, staying on this campus and not out in the community, they'll never know about all that we need to do. So we want to get these students in this honors college off the campus and out in the community learning, But you have to organize that. You can't just say, go volunteer. You have to oversee it and make sure it's a quality experience. So we're going to do that. Well-being, self-care. During the pandemic, boy, did we ever learn a valuable lesson about burnout. So many people started leaving the profession, right? Particularly in areas like nursing, where we had shortages. But in all areas, we began to see problems emerge. Burnout, resilience. These things are critically important. You have to pay attention to well-being. It's so important. And so we're going to make self-care one of the pillars of the Honors College. The students will have to design their own self-care plan, and they'll be supervised and mentored as they go through the program. And then a capstone project will come at the very end, and that is where we'll have them build. They'll draw from the experiences they've had in the other three areas: the reading room, the community engagement, and well-being. And they'll have a final sort of senior project that could potentially result in a published article of some kind, or a presentation at a regional or national meeting. Okay. The first of its kind. And don't you love the seal? Isn't it beautiful? Hannah Broom designed it with the help of a lot of people. Mark Rolfe, team, you designed it. Penny, I know, was a part of that. You had a lot of examples. Is Mark here? Mark, thank you.
I didn't design it.
Oh, you didn't design it. Roland Medical Library. We have, I believe, our group here today. Where's our group of library? There we are. Elizabeth, our leader, please stand. Thank you. Big team. So very important. A central hub for biomedical and health sciences. You can see all the things they do. Databases, journals, subject guides, LibGuides. We started something new this year. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence. People don't know what to do about artificial intelligence. Is it the enemy of education, or is it the friend? What are the guardrails, right? How do we manage something like that? That becomes a potentially very innovative educational tool if used correctly. But we needed expertise. We also have other areas now that are beginning to emerge in academics that are very innovative and forward-thinking, and we needed a centralized resource at UMMC to ensure that we were doing things in a very modern, forward-thinking way. And for that reason, we've established, and it's new as of fall 2023, the Office of Academic Innovation, housed within the library and led by Dr. Robin Thompson. Is she here? There you are, Dr. Thompson. Very good. We also have the UMMC archives, and something new that was recently featured in the medical school magazine that went out, the UMMC Museum of Medical History. I have heard for the 9 years that I've been here about this man named Hardy and this man named Guyton, right? And then I hear about all these other great things that we've done at UMMC through the years. And you realize, you see the little signs, around campus when you're walking like on an elevator, or on the walls or stuff about these people. But you realize this was not just a statewide first of its kind, or even a regional first or a national. This was a world-leading first of its kind. So when we talk about the first transplant, Harvard Medical School cannot claim that title. Only we can. We are the ones who did that first, right? I'm so proud of that. That's wonderful. I love being a part of a place that sort of has these famous firsts, right? And then Guyton, I used the physiology textbook when I was an undergraduate in Durham, North Carolina. I went to Duke University as an undergraduate, and I have my textbook. It's this big, thick thing. I'm not sure I read it, but I was quick to open it up and look, and there it was, Guyton, University of Mississippi Medical Center. And so I just treasure that. It sits on my bookshelf in my office right now, and I'm just so proud of that. But when you have a Mona Lisa and you have a David in the form of Hardy and Guyton, you need a museum, right? So that's what we're doing. Let me tell you about it. So here's what we wrote: to explore and highlight the exceptional history of UMMC, not UMC, Through permanent and rotating exhibits, interactive multimedia installations, an expansive digital archive, educational programs, oral histories, docent-led walking tours that celebrate the institution's achievements across all of its hospitals, clinical research programs, and 7 schools. So this is happening. We're going to have this. This will be the sort of based in the library because it's this beautiful 20,000 square foot space, and so we think we can do it without disrupting students or any of the flow in the library. But we're also going to have, you're going to see markers all over campus, like those historical highway markers that you see. We're going to have these signs all over campus that tell the story. We're going to have QR codes and things where you can read more about what happened in that spot where you're standing. We know exactly where Medgar Evers was brought when he came here after being shot. We know that civil rights history interacts in some ways with our history. And so we want to tell some stories. And we're going to do that through this museum project. So we're very excited. It takes time, so be patient with us as we do this. This isn't going to happen overnight. It takes a lot of time. Again, Mark Rolfe and his team are very involved in this. We have a steering committee that's working on this. We have students on that committee, a lot of faculty, staff. We also have some external folks that are very interested in our history. And so we're moving it forward now, and you'll see this highlighted soon. Something you can visit. Other groups I want to mention. The Academy for Excellence in Education is new as of 2 years ago. This is the final new program that we've established in the last 2 years. I'll tell you a little bit about that. But we have the Council of Deans, Academic Affairs Council. We help the Faculty Senate. We sponsor the Nelson Order, the Regents Teach Prize. We have an award for academic affairs and Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. And now the Academy. So we have a leader here from the Academy. We have 2 leaders here, just 2 today of our leaders. Why don't you stand? Oh, and there's Rob. Rob, we have 3. I was looking right above you, Rob. Thank you. Who else? Oh, Stephen. Stephen Stray is our president. We have our president-elect, Amal. We have Kimberly here and Rob. Thank you both for being here. This is new. So we have never had an Academy for Excellence in Education. And now we have over 150 members, Rob. Rob is our membership chair. It's about 150 to 160 probably. So the mission is to enhance the learning environment of all schools at the University of Mississippi Medical Center through support and recognition of outstanding educators, development of a community of dedicated educators, and promotion of educational excellence, innovation, leadership, and scholarship. So at Vanderbilt, when I was there, I was part of the inaugural class into their new Academy for Excellence in Education. I learned a lot about how an academy like this works and how it really benefits people, especially faculty who are interested in teaching, who are interested in instruction, they want to be better. Having an academy really matters. And we didn't have one. But we had the people around who could help us do this. And so we put it together, and now we have over 150 of our faculty inducted into this academy. And it is moving. We have a book club this Friday, as a matter of fact, that Kimberly's responsible for. She does our event planning. And you'll notice too, this is also kind of like the Honors College. We're bringing in faculty from all the schools, so it's not just one school. Office of Academic Affairs is very interested in all schools. We don't play favorites. We're into the idea of inclusion. Everybody is a player. Everybody gets to be a part of everything we do in the Office of Academic Affairs. Oh, I love these people. In our office, we have Betty Butler, our Director of Business Operations, Taylor Smith, our Academic Affairs Administrator, and Gina Wilkes, our Special Projects Coordinator. I just want to recognize them. I'm not sure that they're here, but I know Gina's here. Gina is here. Is Taylor? Taylor's here. Oh, Taylor. Betty, I don't think could make it, but anyway, thank y'all for all that you do. I want to just finish in the last few minutes by showing you some data about our students and how successful they are and our faculty. So, a lot of people helped us pull this data, and these are some of the people that helped us. So if you look at student and trainee enrollment by level, we have the 3 bars for undergraduates, graduates, and postgraduate residents and fellows, and you can see this is 2021, 22, and 23. And you can see our undergraduates have dipped just a bit, but our graduate students have been increasing, as have our postgraduates, residents, and fellows. And here's some enrollment numbers by school. So you can see nursing is our largest school when it comes to enrollment, followed by medicine, and then Sharp. Population health, our newest school, has the fewest, but of course, excellent students. Student enrollment demographics tells you a little bit about the demographics, and something that's very interesting and that surprised me in our schools. In every one of our schools, women outnumber men. There's no exception to that. How about that? Healthcare is changing, which is very exciting. And then you look at the number of countries represented on this campus, 29 countries, 40 U.S. states, and 80 of our 82 Mississippi counties. We're missing, and I'm not from Mississippi, I'm from Atlanta, so I'm going to mispronounce. Issaquah and Tallahatchie. Did I get it? Those are missing, so if you have friends, get some students here from those 2 areas so we can claim all of our counties. But we're just so proud that we bring students from all over the state to UMMC. What a great place to work. It just makes you want to get up every day and go in and work hard. It does me, at least. Look at our achievement numbers. This is fun. So some of this is, we were helped by Mitzi and her group. This had a little bit to do with the targets with SACS, COC accreditation. But we have these targets. So 1-year retention, students come here and we hope that they don't fail out, right? We want them to stay. We want them to recruit them and then hope that they stay. And so these are our retention rates each of the past 3 years. And you can see we're hitting our target of 94%, and that is excellent. We are outpacing healthcare schools across the country by a fairly significant margin. I believe the average is something like in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So congratulations to all of you on student success and student retention. Student completion, the word completion is different from graduation. In completion, we're being inclusive there of people who are pursuing certificate programs and completing certificate programs. If we didn't include our certificate programs, we could call this graduation rate, but you can see our target is 87, and in 2021, we hit 90% student completion, and that is also outstanding. So they come, they stay in the first year, we retain them, and then they ultimately graduate. And licensure, so important. Why spend all those tuition dollars and all those years of training only to take an exam and fail? You need to pass so that you can practice and earn a living. And our licensure rate is 96%. And first author publication, this is the graduate school mostly. It's a requirement, Dr. Murphy, to have a first author publication. And so we can pull the data and we can look and we can see how many of our students in all of our graduate programs achieve this goal of a first author publication, and it's 100%. Here's some numbers on total faculty. You can see the School of Medicine really is the dominant group when it comes to the faculty, but you have nice representation elsewhere. AIS, that's the library team. And here's faculty full-time and part-time. Most of our faculty are full-time. You can see medicine again with the most. And then tenure track status and non-tenure. So most of our faculty are non-tenured, but we do have some on the tenure track and with tenure. And the no tenure status represents the instructors on campus, according to our leader of faculty affairs. He was walking this by me yesterday, so I was aware. This is something that we thought about when we were getting started. Natalie and I, we can be a little cutesy sometimes, right? We were doing some complicated mathematics. And we said we have 6 schools, over 1,100 faculty, over 3,100 students and trainees, and when you add it all up, you get one UMMC. And that, I think, captures the Office of Academic Affairs probably better than anything, is this mathematics. We think this way. This is our culture. We need to all be together and respectful of one another. And everything we do needs to be not just for ourselves, but for our community at UMMC. And so we live by this, we breathe this every day. This is the way we think. And I want you to leave today with that feeling about the Office of Academic Affairs. It is here for everyone. No one's excluded. Thank you very much. And I have 7 minutes for questions if you have any. Everybody's leaving, so I think we're done. Thank you.